Hello, and welcome to this video, where we'll identify what caused our process to not work as expected and find a solution. All set? Great! Let's get started. Our process extracts data from multiple Excel files and consolidates it into one. In reviewing the output file, we observed that the data from one of the files hadn't been extracted by our process. Let's look at the output file to learn more about this. We have 5 Excel files with 10 records each. We should have 50 records, but we only have 40. Let's fix this. We start by adding a breakpoint at the For Each File and Folder activity, as this will enable us to step into and execute each activity manually. We now right-click the activity and select Toggle Breakpoint, and run the process in debug mode by selecting Debug File from the Debug tab. As we can see, the execution starts and stops when it reaches the breakpoint. At this point, we can use Step Into for each activity. Once we reach the end of the sequence, it means that we've finished processing our first input file and appending the data. We verify the records in the output file. We can see that it contains 10 records equal to the first input file. Great! Let's close the file and continue our manual execution to process the second input file. We click Step Into again and open the output file to verify the results. We can see that the results file still has only 10 records, indicating to us that the second input Excel file was not processed. Let's open the second input file and try to understand why. We notice here that the sheet name is New Sheet, but in the Append Range activity, we selected the sheet as Sheet 1. Thus, the sheet name did not match and caused our process to ignore the file. Fortunately, there is an easy way to correct this. Let's stop debugging for now. Next, we want to check the name of the sheet before appending the data, and if the name does not match the correct one, we want to rename the respective sheet to Sheet 1. To do this, let's add an If activity before the append range and rename it. The If activity contains 2 blocks, namely Then and Else. If the condition provided in the If statement is true, our process will execute the Then block, and if the statement is false, our process will execute the Else block. As condition, let's indicate the current Excel file referenced as Source Excel and use the selected sheet property .name to access the sheet. Then use IsNot operator to verify for the correct name, being Sheet 1. Now let's add a Rename Sheet activity in the Then block. In the From field, we'll choose the sheet that we want to rename using the expression SourceExcel.SelectedSheet. In the To field, we can type in the new name as Sheet 1. Let's add a log message here to let us know when a renaming was performed. As a best practice, let's also add a log message activity inside the Else block. Perfect! Now let's run our process again and see if it consolidates all data. The execution finished. We'll open the output file and verify the results. We see the pivot table and the chart in Sheet 2, and if we go to Sheet 1, we now have 50 data records, meaning that our process extracted and consolidated data from all 5 input files. We can also check if our process renamed the sheet, and we can see that it is now named Sheet 1. Great! This concludes our process of building an automation project with UiPath Studio. As a quick recap, in this video, we've walked through the steps of identifying and correcting the way our input files were processed with the help of breakpoints. Can you recall where in the process we've added the breakpoint and why? Also, what activity did we use to catch name exceptions, and how did we handle them? Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy automation!